Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So, first of all, I just wanted to mention I know I've been missing in action for a little while now. Been having some technical difficulties with YouTube, but definitely wanted to get back on the channel. Been a lot going on in Brazil. Like I say, I'll never run out of stories coming out of Brazil, just narrowing it down to discussions about race. Um, so this story actually came about last week, but I'm just now really getting a chance to cover it. And I have to cover this video because it's a topic that continues to come up. I've seen a lot of this over the years, and this was just it's another example of how it is in Brazil. So today's video is called "Is That a Wig? I Saw Lice." Television host humiliates black dancer, has stage assistant pull her hair to prove it's real. Outrageous. Before I even get into this video, let me just request that you all like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you've seen more than a few videos that you've liked here, and click on the notification bell so that you know every time that I put up new videos. I'm trying to get back into my rhythm. So with that said, let's get into today's story. Again, this is I think it came out sometime around last week. So let's just get directly into the video for the day. Is that a wig? I saw lice. Okay, so this was an incident that happened on one of these TV variety shows that comes on in Brazil. So the reason why I wanted to cover this is because, as I've said, there's nearly 4,000 articles over at blackbraziltoday.com where you can see that I've been covering this for a number of years. So there is a long history of insults connected to what Brazilians call cabelo crespo. We can translate that as kinky curly hair. It's a hair that's associated with people of African ancestry, right? This isn't the first time, and it's probably never going to, I wouldn't say it's going to be the last either, because as I've said, jokes about the attributes of visibly black people has been the norm in Brazil for arguably centuries. There's always been this question of cabelo ruim versus cabelo bom, which in how we say in the United States, we call it good hair versus bad hair. Everywhere where you have people of African ancestry, there's always this question, because our standards of beauties and acceptability are set according to the European standard. I think there was a documentary some years ago from, I think it was Venezuela, and it was talking about the same thing: good hair, bad hair. We all remember the Chris Rock documentary some years ago. I think that was that called Good Hair. So Black Brazilian women have been talking about this for years, and it's been a big thing because since I want to say arguably since about 2010, 11, 12, 13, somewhere in there, you started seeing more Black Brazilian women accepting their natural hair. And so it was just like it was an explosion. It was a revolution of black hair because for decades, Black Brazilians have been taught to be ashamed of their hair. As I've said, Black Brazilian women would either straighten their hair, they would wear wigs and extensions, to be considered, acceptable. And Black men would just shave their hair, using the closest razor, the closest hair guard that they could use when they were getting their hair cut, what they call máquina zero, all the way down to the scalp. Because in some cases, people had skin that was light enough that maybe they felt like they could pass for white if people didn't see the curl texture of their hair. Nowadays, you have a lot of Black men who are for the first time seeing what their real hair looks like, because for so long they have been taught to shave their hair. You can't walk around with your hair looking like that, right? I did a video a couple of weeks ago about an entertainer in Brazil named Tony Tornado, and he was rocking afros back in the early 70s when it was just unacceptable. So Black Brazilians have come a long way with accepting their hair, but mainstream Brazil still does not accept it. They still make jokes about it. And it's just another ugly, it's just something else that's ugly coming from Brazilian society in a place where people say we're all equal. If you're all equal, why are there jokes about, Black people's hair? The denial of the standards that Brazilians have for beauty exposes how people really feel. And there's no way you can keep saying that we see ourselves all as equal, regardless of what we look like, when we know that's not true. There was a comment that former President Jair Bolsonaro made a joke during one of his presentations on television, right? And it's like, okay, so even the president makes jokes like this. There was a video that I posted a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, where somebody on a reality show had made a comment on TV that one of the black girls on the reality show, well, she's got this type of hair, so she must have lice. I'm going to get into all of that as I go. Then Silvio Santos is a popular, he is actually the owner of one of Brazil's, I say, top 3 or 4 television networks, the SBT TV network. And he's been known for years for making these like disgusting comments on air, making jokes, just making comments that are just not acceptable. These are type of comments that would offend people. And he's done this more than a few times, just like the host that I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to get back into all of these links because these are things that I've covered in the past. But for now, let's get into today's story. You see this picture right here. This is a longtime television host named Ratinho. Ratinho is like little rat. Is that what this, is that what that means? I'm gonna have to look that up. His name is Ratinho, or at least that's his stage name. Okay. He's been in the Brazilian public spotlight for probably decades. I've never been a fan. These type of TV shows, I just don't follow. So one of the dancers on his show, he makes this joke and asks her, is this a wig? And he actually has one of his stage assistants come and pull this girl's hair live on television. And then he's going to pretend like, okay, that's not offensive. It was just a joke. So television host humiliates black dancer, has assistant pull her hair to prove that it's real. Today's story is courtesy of Notícia Preta and the Vogue Brazil edition. So black parliamentarians denounced recreational racism on the Ratinho program, which aired last Monday the 1st on the SBT television network. State deputy or Congressman Mateus Gomes and City Councilor Monica Cunha shared an excerpt from the program in which the host asked the dancer if her hair was real or a wig. Recreational racism is defined as a type of racism that is disguised as a harmless joke. It is hostile humor that can offend specific groups. These and other forms of prejudice have become criminal offenses in Brazil, with legislation making recreational racism a criminal act that is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. During the program, the host, Ratinho, turned to the dancer and said, Cynthia, talking to one of his stage dancers, his name Cynthia. Is that your wig? It's the most beautiful thing, said the presenter. In response, she denied that it was a wig. It's not a wig. It's my hair. Today it's mine. Today it's my hair, she replied. Now, the reason why I'm wondering why she said that, I don't watch the Ratinho program, obviously. So I'm wondering if she's saying here, today it's my hair. Does that mean that in past programs she has rocked a wig? Is that what she's saying? Because since today it's mine, today it's my hair. Is that saying once upon a time in her other appearances she's worn a wig? I'm assuming that's what she meant. The host insisted and got closer. It's not your hair. I saw a little lice, he said. With the laugh, the dancer replied, what lice? At this point, Ratinho told his assistant to pull Cynthia's hair. Pull her hair, said Ratinho. After the stage assistant pulled Cynthia's hair and confirmed that it was indeed natural hair, he turned to the audience again with a smile and said, so it's beautiful. I thought it was a wig. It's beautiful, said Ratinho. Okay, so someone can look at this and say, well, he did say it's beautiful. Like, yeah, but after he called her out and asked if her hair was real or if it was a wig. Now, I tend to look at this in a different manner, because when I see people who have big puffy hair, I tend to think, okay, my first thought is, wow, she's got a lot of hair, There were artists I remember, musicians. I'll just speak on this musician that I used to know, that I used to like. He's a guitar player. He was a guitar player. He passed away some years ago. There was this guitar player named, he called himself Sugarfoot. He was a guitar player for the Ohio Players, a popular funk group from the 1970s. And he used to have this huge afro. I never thought nothing about it. I assumed that was his hair. It would come out years later that it was actually, they say that it was a wig that he was wearing. I never knew that. But I tend to think, when I'm around other black people and I see big hair, I always automatically assume it is real. And whether it's real or not, not going to ask somebody, particularly in front of other people, if that's a wig. I mean, I don't know if that's just a little bit rude. I don't know. That's the way that I see it. I would never ask somebody in front of a group of people, and especially, I mean, on national TV where millions of people are watching, I would never ask somebody if they're wearing a wig. To me, that just sounds like that's just kind of rude. Why would you ask somebody like something like that, on national TV? I wouldn't even do it in a group of people. So anyway, this is the state deputy or Congressman Mateos Gomez. He said that ratinho is a racist. His attitude is an expression of recreational racism, which has been a crime in Brazil since January of 2023. Our bodies are not a joke. We are not commodities to be exposed in this way. My solidarity to Cynthia and all Black people who go through this. We mustn't accept it. Our hair is our pride, he said. And he's right. As long as I've been covering Brazil and looking at the situation with race in Brazil, I always see these. It was just a joke. People will say the cruelest things to other people and then play it off as if it was a joke. And now is actually legislation that says recreational racism or the racist joke, it has consequences now. But I've seen this for, a few decades now. So this is Mateos Gomez. Obviously, I wonder if he's been the subject or the butt of jokes, obviously, because he's wearing dreadlocks. Then you have Monica Cunha. She's a city councilor. She also expressed her solidarity with the dancer who was visibly embarrassed by the host's remarks. It's not possible for anyone to find this video funny, or is it just me who can see the violence that Cynthia was subjected to? Recreational racism is a crime in Brazil, and ratinho and SBT need to be held accountable. My solidarity with Cynthia, said the parliamentarian. So they're talking now about something that's been called recreational racism, and it was actually a book by the lawyer and professor Adilson Moreira. He has a book called Racismo Recreativo, which means recreational racism. So for lawyer and professor Adilson Moreira, recreational racism is racist humor that is a type of hate speech, a type of message that communicates contempt, that communicates condescension towards racial minorities. The expert also discusses the concept of microaggressions of television characters who are symbols of recreational racism, as well as saying that he sees it as common for comedians to hide behind the argument, it's just a joke, every time they are hostile to racial minorities. So this is Adilson Moreira, and that's the book that he had out talking about recreational racism. This is the young lady, Cynthia, who I kind of feel for her because, the host of this TV show made this joke on national TV. And it's apparent that she was hurt by the comment. She was a bit embarrassed on TV, but she has to walk a slippery slope because this is her boss. If she gets too outraged or she speaks out too strongly, she could obviously get fired from her job. So she's kind of in it's kind of a sticky situation. So then she for her, it was a sad situation. I'm quite sure she had stronger words that she would have liked to use, but I feel like she probably feels like she's walking on a tightrope because he did this on national TV. He doesn't see anything wrong with it. He actually dismissed it, but she felt embarrassed on TV, and she can't really say how she really feels. So on Wednesday morning, almost a week ago, by the time this video goes up, it might be a week or a little bit more than a week, Cynthia made a brief statement on her social networks. She says, I came here to thank the people who are concerned about me, about my well-being. I didn't come here to justify my silence. I came here to say that Ana Laura, my baby, isn't well. I'm looking after her. She's had a high fever for 4 days. I haven't slept properly at night with all of these messages, with everything that's happening, she said. I'm saddened by some of the facts, but everyone who follows me knows how truthful I am. I'm fair, and I have no problem talking about the things that happen in my life. After all, my social networks are open. But right now, I'm taking care of my daughter. I'm taking care of my things. I need to work, but I need to have discernment and calm to talk about it, she continued. So she's acknowledging here that she has to calm herself. She was probably just really mad, and being on TV, she had to play it off. She had to put a smile on her face and not react to something that must have been really embarrassing that was happening on national TV. She also said that she intends to record a video to talk more calmly about everything that happened. This was a hot story last week. A lot of Brazilian Instagram profiles were talking about it. You know, this one Pretitudes, it's a horror show, a lack of respect, embarrassment, and violence on open television. This is absurd, she says. This is what she posted here, the Pretitudes Instagram channel. That's what I just read here. Um, Popular social influencer Sada Mata also went off in a video response. She made quite a long video reacting to this. I'm not going to just read everything that she said. This is a Sada Mata. She has a pretty big following on TikTok and I think Instagram as well. She says, first of all, Cynthia, I'm sorry you have to go through this. No woman, especially a black woman who has this kind of hair, deserves to suffer ridiculous treatment like this, even in the workplace. I'm sorry you have to put up with a job like this to make ends meet because you're not doing it for free as a hobby, she began in her video response. The old recreational racism, said one girl. There are still people who say it's me, meaning whining. Many of the dancers who he came for are black women with natural hair, wrote another. Cynthia has to be polite so she doesn't lose her job, wrote another, which that's the same. That's how I felt. Contacted by Vogue Brazil magazine, the host Ratinho's advisor said he would not comment on it as he doesn't agree with the way the subject has been interpreted. And things are always open for interpretation, but you do have to read. There have been times when I have disagreed with somebody over something, but I do have to consider how somebody else's feel. And here, this guy just totally rejects it. I'm quite sure there were probably tens of thousands of black women who took issue with what he did. I mean, he actually had his stage assistant go onto the stage and actually pull this girl's hair. I don't know if I could have subjected myself to that. I don't know if I would have just walked off the stage because that's absurd to me. How are you going to have one of your assistants come up and pull the girl's hair on national TV? But anyway, speaking on what they call recreational racism, we've seen examples of this for a long time. In this particular story here from 2023, and I covered this story some months ago. This was the Portuguese edition, where one of the websites that I took my story from. I have it in English, so I'm going to go into that as I go through and show some of these links. But this is a story that I was talking about the former president Jair Bolsonaro. And he says to one of his black supporters, "Are you breeding cockroaches in that hair?" He's accused of racism after making a comment to one of his black supporters. Can you imagine? What did he say? He says, "Are you breeding cockroaches in your hair?" So this is one of his supporters. Like, being, what people call the extreme right, people call Bolsonaro the Brazilian Trump, but he did have black supporters, and he could look at one of his black supporters who has an afro and says, "Are you breeding cockroaches in there?" This was on July 7th, I think, of 2021. President Bolsonaro was leaving the Alvorada Palace, the home of the president. The president asked the Bolsonaro supporter, "How's the cockroach breeding there?" Laughing, the chief executive continued, "Look at the cockroach breeder here. You can't take ivermectin, that'll kill all your lice," he claimed. Now, I could comment on this thing about ivermectin because we know how the media portrayed that particular drug, and I don't think the media was really cool. I don't think they did a really good job in talking about the effects of ivermectin. So I'm not even going to get into that. That's take me way off topic. I would just say do your own research on ivermectin before you just believe everything that the media says. So this is something that Jair Bolsonaro said to one of his supporters. "Are you breeding cockroaches in there?" So I'm saying these are just small examples of how Brazilians look at people with cabelo crespo, kinky curly hair. This was an article I did in 2017. It says, "Is that people hair? You have bad hair because you want it." In a photo campaign, Black university students denounced racist comments about their hair. 2016 in June, "You disgusting black with bad hair." Elderly woman insults, spits, and pulls the hair of a customer in a supermarket and proceeds to insult a black police chief. Okay, so this is what I'm saying. When black children learn the idea of black bad hair in the least expected place, the home, because black Brazilians have internalized this idea that they don't have good hair. I've talked about this for years. Good hair, bad hair. Black Brazilian women and girls also struggle with this hegemonic ideology. I'm not even going to talk about this guy right here. That's a whole nother story. He actually insulted a guy, and he's black as well. That's, I'm not going to discuss him right now. For those of you who know about Brazil, you know who this guy is, the controversial statements that he made some years ago. Is there anything else I want to get into? Black hair. The problem isn't curly, it's with nappy. Fear of the furrowed dancer is the target of Brazil's anti-blackness. Then I talked about for many times disassociation of black hair with scouring pads, the steel wool kind. They have for years have compared cabelo crespo to bombril, a scouring pad, also crespinha. They compare black people's hair to these steel wire scouring pads. It's another thing that's embedded in Brazilian culture. I mentioned this earlier. The billionaire owner of SBT TV, Brazil's third biggest television network, Silvio Santos, makes a racist comment again on his program about a black child's hair. So what's this all about? Let me see here. Go back up here. Okay. So he's talking to this young lady. Now, first of all, Silvio Santos, anybody knows who's watched SBT over the years, SBT host and owner Silvio Santos has a long history of making gaffes and jokes of bad taste on his shows. Anybody who's watched Silvio Santos knows this. It's the same with the guy that I was just talking about, Ratinho. He makes some of the most controversial statements on air, but people like Ratinho, so he gets away with it. So on this particular program, what is it? Talento Infantil, or Children's Talent. On this television program, Silvio Santos, the host, owner of SBT, asked a 5-year-old black girl named Lice. She lives in Rio de Janeiro. He asked her if she thought she was okay with her kinky curly hair. The child said she was, and Silvio insisted and said that the hair called too much attention. Okay. A 5-year-old girl. I mean, when he makes these type of off-cuff type of comments, and you're going to say it to a child, sometimes a child is not going to get what he's actually saying. Then in 2014, the same guy, so you want to be a singer or actress, but with that hair? TV host owner comment provokes controversy. So this is Silvio Santos again. This is from 2000, I think I said 13 or 14. So he's talking to this girl right here who has appeared on a children's novella. And so he's asking the kids on the show, on this particular program, like, okay, and what do you want to be? He asked the girl. I want to be an actress or a singer. Julia replied, this girl right here. And he says, but with that hair, responded the owner of SBT, Brazil's third largest television network. The girl didn't understand what he was saying, or she was kind of taken aback, like, how so? She was kind of surprised by his comment. He just laughed and asked the same question to another actress. However, this statement created a buzz. So again, this is what I just said. Silvio Santos. Okay, this is the young girl Julia Oliveira, and this is Silvio Santos again. Silvio Santos has been known for years to make these type of statements on TV. Again, just jokes and off-cuff comments against people. Again, he gets away with it. Powerful man, owns a television network. Who's going to check Silvio Santos, right? History of humiliating black people on television. Here's the other comment I was talking about. I put this video up probably a couple months ago, 5 months ago. She has kinky curly hair, so she must have lice. Right? How Brazil has always viewed black hair as dirty. This was a video I did. I didn't realize it was that long ago, but 5 months ago. Brazil has always considered kinky curly hair to be dirty, says specialist after reality show contestant says black participant has lice in her hair. It was funny because I was reading some of the comments that people made after they saw this video. They was like, that's really strange for people to make such comments on TV, because they were like, really, it's white people's hair that's more associated with lice than black people's hair. You're right. That's why I say keep the comments coming. I appreciate the comments that people make on the channel. This is the video, the article that I mentioned before. Recreational racism. 2 white TikTok creators give a banana and stuffed monkey to a black child. These 2 TikTokers have a huge following in Brazil. So a lot of people saw this video. They were passing out presents in the streets to kids. And when they got to 2 black kids, they gave one of them a banana and they gave a girl a little monkey, a stuffed monkey. Like, ha, ha, ha. They know what that means. Maybe the kids didn't. But as Brazil loves to refer to black people as monkeys, this was clearly recreational racism. As I said, Brazil's favorite insult for black people is macaco, macaca. They call black people monkeys all the time. And then you make a video like this. So these are the 2 TikTokers. I think it's a mother and daughter duo. And people called them out for that. I forgot what happened with this. I'm gonna have to look this up. Something did happen out of this because people were outraged that they would choose to, pick two black children to do this when they know that Brazilian society looks and they stereotype black people as monkeys, and then they're gonna choose two black kids to do this. That's disgusting. Let me see, what else do we have here? So jokes. We've seen these type of jokes all the time, and people play it off. Oh, that's just a joke. In 2015, the male gymnastics national team, they made a joke about their black teammate, where they says, the guys who are in the video themselves are not necessarily white, but they made a joke about the black guy on the team saying like, what color is, what did they say? What color is your screen? Let me see. I forgot. It was something they compared his skin to, what's the color of a garbage bag? It's black. What color does when your phone stops working, what color is the screen? And that's black. And they said this in a video, and it was clear that the black guy was offended by what he said. They played it off as a joke. And then it was like months later, when this guy called out this racism, he got suspended from his sports club. He was the one who was the butt of the joke, and then he got suspended and lost his contract and his scholarship to work on his gymnastics at this popular sports club, I think in Sao Paulo. He was the butt of the joke, and then he ended up getting punished. He lost his his stipend to go to practice his to improve his gymnastics skills. This guy has medals. He's one of Brazil's biggest gymnast hopes, and he lost everything basically because of what happened to him. But it was just a joke. Another guy, what is it, Danilo? I forget his last name, but he's another popular television host. He was fired. Well, no, he wasn't. Okay, in the U.S., a TV host was fired for a race comment, but for a Brazilian host known for racist jokes, it was business as usual. This guy made a joke. This is another guy who makes regular jokes on TV, and it's just kind of swept under like, oh, it's just a joke. That same guy, Danilo, I said Gentili is his name, I think. Popular white comedian offers black man bananas to forget his racist jokes. The racism ingrained in Brazilian society. So this is what I'm saying. When I see stories like the one that I have today, I says, well, this goes on all the time, whether it's a joke or an unnecessary comment or a racist comment. Here's another one. This popular YouTuber lost his corporate sponsors after racist tweet about French football player. He was busted. He deleted 50,000 tweets. What you trying to hide? Okay. What else do we have here before I close this video? That same black girl that Silvio Santos asked her about her hair on TV, she says, it's not a wig, I'm black. So this is the environment in Brazil today, where people feel like they can just make these types of jokes about black hair and just it's not a big deal because it was just a joke. It's intriguing because this story here where this TV host says that I thought I saw some lice in your hair. Another incident just recently came out just yesterday, and I'm going to have to cover that within a couple of days because this association with black people and bad hair, and you got dirty hair, and you got hard hair, and you got lice in your hair. These are things that have been going down in Brazilian society for decades and probably centuries. So anyway, that's why I wanted to cover this story today. Want to know what you all thought about today's video. How should this woman have reacted? Did she react the right way? Is this just a joke? Should she just get over it? Well, however you feel about this, I'm curious to know. Drop a comment in the comment section. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Click on that notification bell so that you know when I put up another video. And with that said, I'm going to end this video here and request that you all come back. Check out the next video that I post.